it's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. Let's go. I'm just telling you to fight for your dreams, but it's not what it seems. Man, it's hard to be seen when everybody wants to be king. Yeah, they all want to ring. Yeah, we all want to be free.
Go Lions! And we got another show for you on LNU to talk everything Detroit Lions, the latest news and rumors, obviously the NFL draft, obviously free agency, and I got one of the greatest minds in Detroit sports, and that's my friend Ant-Man Anthony from Roar of the Lions UK. What's going on, man?
Hey, Mike. How are you doing this week? It's lovely to be here on another Thursday. Hang on. Nope, I'm losing days. Tuesday evening to do the LNU show. It's good fun.
He is working really hard. He's already thinking it's Thursday. I wish it was Thursday. It is Tuesday, folks. I appreciate everybody in the building here. We got 9 drinks saying Karen Rogers for sale. Love it. Weston Lyon. We got Chrome in the building. Alan Data showing up. Appreciate everybody getting in here. Make sure you hit that like button if you ain't subscribed. What the hell are you doing? Go ahead and smash that bad boy. We got a lot to get into today, Ant-Man, and first off, I want to start on a funny note. Pro Football Network ranked 40 quarterbacks. Where do you think that Jared Goff ranked of these 40?
Oh, I feel like this won't be very good. Let's say 20.
22. 22. The Detroit Lions quarterback was ranked 22nd out of 40. And I got to say, that's full of garbage. Now, if you think that we got some haters in the Lions Nation, now that's a hating. What do you think about that ranking? What the hell are they smoking?
I don't know. You know what? I know some of the Pro Football Network guys over here. They're very hardworking. They're very good at what they do. But I think, like PFF, they're very statistically minded. They're very set in their ways how they do these things. And I don't think they go via the eye test at all. It's crazy. Goff's had one of the better seasons going. I mean, out of everybody. I mean, a lot of these playoff quarterbacks have not had as good a season as Jared Goff has. He's easily been a top 10 quarterback this year. I mean, you look at the likes of Dak Prescott, etc. He's better than Dak Prescott. You look at Kyler Murray. He's better than Kyler Murray. You know, this is sort of the season that he's had. And teams will just grade these guys higher, but he doesn't turn the football over. The situation he's been in, he's led one of the best-looking offenses in football all season. And, you know, he's not had all his weapons at his disposal either. He lost his main tight end. He's not had his superstar burner wide receiver in there. And he's still done it. I mean, we as Lions fans know that he's been one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL this year, and you can't really dispute that. And these rankings, you know, let them hate. This team feeds off the hate to get stronger, so let people sleep on us.
He's in between Jacoby Brissett and Kenny Pickett.
And yeah, that just says about everything, really, doesn't it? It's a year ago, maybe. Not now. No, he's firmly top 10 this season. There are not many who have been better than him. Yep, and that's a simple fact.
You got Kirk Cousins, Jimmy Garoppolo, Geno Smith, all ahead of Jared Goff. They're in the top 10. And then Jared Goff is in 20 between Kenny Pickett and a guy who's not even starting. So they definitely dropping a deuce on the Detroit Lions, but that's okay because these guys are absolutely ludicrous on this one. Now, look, I'm not a Goff hater or a Goff truther, but you got to look at facts here. Statistically speaking, he is top 10 in all the categories. The offense, top 5. He doesn't have that many interceptions at only, I think it was 7 or 8. That was 8th best in the NFL. The touchdowns, really good. Everything is top 10. So you can't have this dude 22nd in between Jacoby Brissett and Kenny Pickett. That's just absolutely ridiculous. So let me know in the comment section what you think of this grade or ranking. I'm going to give it a grade of an F. I think that's ludicrous. This is something that Sam Darnold should be getting at. What in the heck is going on here? So let me know in the comment section what you think of that. NFL executives believe that the Detroit Lions are going to make legit noise in the playoffs, division winners, and can take a major run. That was news today. What do you think about these unnamed executives really starting to believe in the Detroit Lions? They're going to be potentially like the 49ers this year.
I think for once the finger is on the pulse. They seem to know what's going on, and I think there is, no reason why we shouldn't be competing in the playoffs and winning the division this year. The thing that we have over every other team in the NFC North at the minute is we have a young, nearly established core of players who are going to be the future of this franchise. Your Sewells, your Amon-Ra's, McNeil, all these guys that we've invested heavily in are forming a great group. They're learning how to win games. They're getting better every single week. And in terms of a GM, he is assembling the roster the right way. We have an offense which is fierce. Most of it is under contract. The offensive line is here to stay time. When you've got that young core, got a guy at the helm, set the money. Brad Holmes is setting us up long term here. He ain't risking the future of the franchise. It's sensible. It's calculated. He drafts well. I fully agree. The Vikings, we saw how fraudulent they were this year, and while ever Kirk Cousins and that monster contract of his are sat with their, around the neck of them, they ain't going nowhere. The Packers, we've seen they're in regression. If Aaron Rodgers stays, they own $60 million this year. It's an older team, not much young talent on there. A lot of places they need to build up, and the Bears are at rock bottom. I don't care if they've got $120 million in free agency in the first overall pick. You can't fix every problem in a season. They're way behind us. In terms of the build, we're ahead of everyone, and we've got plenty of assets to get even better going forward. So I think we are going to make waves, and I think we should expect this team to make waves. Dan Campbell's never hidden behind there's a timeline thing for us. We've got to wait 4 years before we can compete. It's like, well, we're under pressure to win the division next year now. We know this, and that's what we expect, and good on him. Setting legitimate goals, never resting, always pushing forward, which is what you're meant to do. So I think they're bang on. I think we will.
My expectations is win the division, is to make some noise in the... Oh, you want a link? I didn't know that. Hold on one second. I didn't even realize you could get on. Let me get a guy who just came back. He just came back to the States. He's been overseas for about a year, serving his country. He's not fully in the state of Michigan, but the man is in Texas. So go ahead and hit that link there, and you be good to go. Let me get a threesome on this bad boy. While I do that, go ahead and talk about really quick, what is, I guess, your biggest need for the Lions right now going into free agency while I hook him up?
Free agency, you're looking on the defensive side of the ball for free agency. There's possibly going to be a very good defensive tackle market this offseason, whether it's trade or free agency, specifically looking at you, Daron Payne, and I know just about everybody is. He would kind of finish that line off perfectly. But then, you're looking at linebacker, you're looking in the secondary. I've said this many a time before, that the defense needs proper leaders on there, veteran leaders at the prime of their, they're at the peak prime of their game. They're going to bring they're going to bring all these youngsters forward. They're going to bring them forward in lockstep together to show that leadership that maybe we've lacked a little bit in some of the more high-pressure situations. You've got Tremaine Edmonds, who's about to become available potentially. You should be doing everything you can to get a hold of him. He's only 24. He's young, fits this build perfectly. And then you've got good corner options as well. I think we're talking about Byron Murphy. You've got guys in there who you can get. I think you have to be aggressive this year a little bit, because we do have a bit of money to spend. And you don't have to give guys massive contracts right away. You can, as is with all contracts these days, you can backload them a little. Nothing too crazy, but you can always have a sensible first year when you cap it tighter. And then as it goes on, you can start paying them a bit more. But I think where we're at the minute, we're just missing veterans. We ain't missing young talent. Anyway, we got enough young talent on this team. We just need to start plugging and playing some veterans in. So, yeah, the defensive side of the ball's there. It's got to be the secondary first, but that defensive line, it just looks tempting because then it takes a need away from the draft, and you can do more in the draft if you get your next DT. So, but yeah, it's on the defensive side of the ball for sure.
You haven't seen this face in a long time. Why? Because he's been
Yeah.
overseas, but he is stateside now. He just got done with this tour. He's got to do a little, a little bit of a moment out really quick in Texas. But you'll be back in the States. How does it feel to be back in America?
I feel good. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I feel great. It's been a great tour. It's been a great deployment. I had a lot of success. I had to stop making videos for a certain amount of time because I had some cybersecurity certs to get, and then I had I finished my associates out here, on deployment. So, and obviously our mission, training the new people, stuff like that. But I'm glad to be back in the U.S., man. I'm blessed to be here, and I'm happy. So your
Your
content's
face is
coming.
happy, bro, because you've lost weight.
Yeah. They're gonna force you to do PT out there, especially when it makes you wanna. He's gonna be like, hey, I need a PT test for next year. So we got the PT test done. I maxed out the deadlift. And I ran the 2 miles, and I was training for that the last month too. So I've been a busy guy. I've been a very busy guy.
So you look at the Detroit Lions, AG. What do you think is the biggest need? What do you want to see from them acquire in free agency, in the draft, to make this team much better?
I need a linebacker. I need a linebacker, and I need a cornerback. That's really important to me. I like Isaiah Buggs. I like the defensive line. I like Kaminsky. I like what they have there. I think they're gonna get something there, but I know for a fact you're gonna need a linebacker. You're gonna need somebody to help out Malcolm Rodriguez and company. If Malcolm Rodriguez is the alpha in the room, he's the 6th round pick. I need somebody else also, whether it's a free agent or whether it's an individual like fresh out of college, that's going to be a stud. So I need a linebacker for sure.
Need a linebacker, and there's a lot of them in the draft too, a lot. And the Lions definitely could go ahead and get a guy like Jack Campbell, pair him up with Malcolm Rodriguez, Derek Barnes. Do you think about bringing back Alex Anzalone? He played much better in the second half of the season. And the veterans in free agency is not that great at linebacker. It really isn't.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna do more deep dives of what he did in film study, because again, I do want to speak on. I watched the first 8 games, and then I had to kind of like duck off for a minute. But I think I want to get back into film study and studying him and seeing if he's worth the trouble to keep. I would like new blood at the linebacker position, but again, I didn't look at those latter day games. Once I have the film and look at all of them and look at him particularly, I make my decision then.
Just found out today that it doesn't look like the Detroit Lions are going to get any compensatory picks, Ant-Man, and that's all right. We already got 8 draft picks, in all honesty. I didn't expect us to get any. Any thoughts on that really quick?
No, I mean, Brad Holmes is a guy who likes to wheel and deal. I think, in his first 2 drafts already, he trades back on day 3 if he wants some of those picks back there. And, he trades at the top of the draft. I trust him with 8 picks there. I 100% don't think we're going to pick at all those positions. He will wheel and deal. He will have something in mind. So I'm not really too fussed about it. Comp picks are comp picks. You can't really help that. You never have them. So if you never lose them, do you? So I'm not too fussed.
So you watched the first 8 games, AG. Unfortunately, that's when the Lions played bad. They completely turned around, and they were playing excellent to last. 8 out of 10 wins. The team looked completely different. Ben Johnson's coming back. But Aaron Glenn is interviewing for the Arizona Cardinals job. Do you want him to come back? Do you think that he'll get the job? I don't think he's getting the job. I think it's the Rooney Rule. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I think he's going to be back as defensive coordinator. What do you think about him potentially leaving? I guess like the 1% chance.
Yeah, I think again he's just getting that job. a look-see. I think that Arizona job is not. That's not what they're looking for. They're looking for more of a stabilizing force, philosophy-wise. Somebody bring Kyler Murray on. I say they go with an offensive coach. But I mean, their defense was atrocious, so it makes sense there. But I don't think his bend but don't break attitude is going to like fly well over there. What I do like about the defense and keeping him is the continuity. They
Yeah.
know what they're getting. They understand what they're getting. It's not a game. It's not jokes and mirrors, smokes and mirrors. It's the same guy with the same attitude, with the same beliefs that we've seen in Hard Knocks. And I think that continuity is strong. Coming in with a new defensive coordinator or a promotion up, it's going to be new terms, new this, new that. And I like the continuity he provides as opposed to just like, the play calling. But the continuity is there. The guys know him. The guys respect him as a leader. They've seen him in every way, shape, and form last year, especially when they were tremendously awful to even when they were getting better and trying to get to that top 15 defensive rank. So I'm happy. I'm elated to have him.
Got some news really quick, at least from LNU and from my perspective. Just seen the surgeon today, and the results from my MRI is the fact that I got to do 6 weeks of PT. I got to get a shot, and if that don't work, I'm going to get a fusion on my lower spine. So that's going to happen for the next 6 weeks. We'll see. If it don't get better, I'm perfectly fine with getting surgery. And second news, AG is part of Lions Nation Unite. How does it feel, man?
There you go. There you go. Hey, you hit it with the big news. I didn't even know that was going on with you. My heart goes out to you, brother. My heart goes out to you for real.
I needed the surgery. I need to get it because my back has been really tore up, and so I've been getting the MRIs and keeping people updated on there. But yeah, man, we got a guy who knows prospects again with Roar Lines UK. Yeah. We are building this thing up, man, and we're gonna have.
I could tell my wife now. I could tell my wife.
Yeah, man. LNU going through the top, and we got some big projects ahead, and I can't wait to talk about it. But let's talk about free agency. Ant-Man, what is one player you want the Detroit Lions to sign? And we'll just go through some players here. One player you want the Lions to pick up in free agency.
It's Jerome Payne. I know it may be fanciful thinking on there, but the defensive line is just, we've got such a plethora of talent on the edge now that's coming in. You just need that second really all-dominating tackle to go in there with Aleem, who had a tremendous year, the rate he's coming on. You put Aleem and Duron in there, then you've got Bugs coming in as back, but we may even keep Benito as well because he's done really well. You've got a really solid rotation that offers just about everything you need. You've got the big run-stuffing guys. You've got the penetrating after the quarterback guys in there. And, we saw that we started winning more games at the end of the year. It wasn't, the defense was still bad in areas, but it was because the defensive line was standing up, making plays, getting turnovers, getting sacks, and that can sort of alleviate the pressure on the other two levels of your team. So I'd love to just go all in and get him, and then it would settle that line out, and then I can look at the draft, and I can really put my draft capital into fixing the secondary, getting more guys in there, getting more high-level talent in, sorting that room out instead. So Payne would be the guy for me because it just makes fixing the defense so much more easier.
In the comment section, let me know who you want to get in free agency. And you could re-sign your own players. That's a part of it as well. All the players that's up for re-sign. You got John Kaminsky, DJ Chark, Jamal Williams, Isaiah Buggs, all the normal people like Alex Anzalone as well. Me, I would like to get Byron Murphy, cornerback out of the Arizona Cardinals, young corner, and he's played 4 years. Now, one of the years, this last year only played 9 games, but before that it was 16, 16, 15, 4 interceptions, not this last year. He's a ball hawk. He would be very cheap per spot track. We're talking about $5 million for a 1-year deal here. He could be none of those 1-year guys that we had, like a Khalif Raymond, like a DJ Chark. Khalif Raymond, year 1, not year 2. But a guy that he's a veteran, and you'd help out the young player that you're probably going to draft. in this year's draft, because Amani Agowaway is probably not coming back here. Maybe Mike Hughes not coming back, and I would like to get at least one veteran cornerback there to help this defense out. Now, AG, I don't know if you've looked at a lot of free agents. What would be something the Lions you would like to get in free agency? Resign some of our guys, maybe not spend big, get some depth, go at least one big player. What do you think you would like to see the Detroit Lions to do?
I'm gonna give you two first. So what I don't want to see is them sign DJ Shark. I don't want to fall for that. I don't want to fall for that game right there. I think signing DJ Shark. Um, I think Khalif Raymond is a tremendous player, tremendous talent, and I think that DJ Shark on the field is going to, limit Jameson's. Also, you know, in the season, DJ Shark was not as advertised, so I don't think he's worth the 10 million. But what I do want to see is I want to see them go after a veteran corner and bring back a veteran safety in Deshaun Elliott. I think Elliott is one of those players that's an enforcer. He's a headable to the T. He can play the pass. He can play the run stuff. I think he's a great, flexible guy. I think that he's a consummate pro, and I think when he's healthy, he's a very adequate player. So don't sign. In conclusion, do not sign DJ Shark, and do sign Elliott.
There's been some rumors speculating this, and it just came out today. TA just sent it to me, saying that Jalen Ramsey potentially could be on the trade market. Now, he's the corner we all know from the Los Angeles Rams. He is a feisty SOB. Connection there, obviously, with Brad Holmes. Would you trade for Jalen Ramsey? And if so, what are you willing to give up to acquire him? What do you got there, Ant-Man?
I wouldn't, no. And I know that sounds silly because he's one of the best corners in the NFL and he's a great player, but it's the same sort of issue I have, with other guys like that. He's been to a Super Bowl. He's won it already. And he's going to get paid well for what he's done now. I'm kind of beyond that. We had all the Patriots who came here they'd been to the Super Bowl. They'd done it. They're not on a timeline with this team. I want guys who are still to prove themselves in the NFL. They still have the ultimate goal of getting to the Super Bowl. They're going to work in lockstep with our young players. And I think I've just kind of been put off these guys who have already done it. I mean, he's already cemented himself as one of the best in the game. I kind of want someone who's still got a point to prove, who's going to go out there and prove to be a great mentor for our young guys, because we've just struggled for so many years now with veteran corners who have come and disappointed, and we've paid a ton of money to, and it's not worked. Because a lot of them have been on the downward trajectory careers. A lot of them have already won it. I wouldn't. I don't want to give away the draft picks. We're building right. I'm not giving away too many picks for a guy like him. It's going to be a lot of money, which is going to put pressure on our cap situation, which is not great anyhow, in the scheme of things. So I just wouldn't do it. For me, it's too rich. I know it might sound silly, but no.
What do you think about Jalen Ramsey? His contract is giant, AG. We're talking ridiculous giant. Feels like he is on the downswing, in all honesty. He got some interceptions this last game, but what do you think about Jalen Ramsey?
I like him. If we were in the playoffs currently and we had just on, I would definitely start trade picks to get him. I know what he is, a corner who can play the middle hash as well. He could be a QB spy. He could be one-on-one. He could take away half the field. He could take away the middle of the field. You can even put him in a 3-safety look. He's a great in terms of, just what the scheme provides. In terms of the Lions being there, I don't think they go from 9-8 to 13 and 4. I don't think they go that much with him or without him. So I think that would be a reach. And then you're putting pressure on your coach, you're putting pressure on your GM, and you're putting pressure on everybody to win now. immediately when you make a move that big. So if he could get traded to Detroit, and we must have to have a playoff win, and I think that's not feasible at that point. I think we want guys to grow. We also have 4 more years of Dan Campbell. We just did a 9-8 season. We at least want to run it back with a 9-8, and I think that it would be irresponsible for us to put all our picks in one basket.
Yeah, I'm not in for getting Jalen Ramsey just because of the contract, and I think he's on the downswing. We have 2 first-round picks. Get a guy like a Byron Murphy and then draft a corner if you want to go that route. I mean, there's a ton of corners in this year's draft. I'm talking ton. It is ridiculous amount of corners. The depth it's the number 1 position in this year's draft. Matter of fact, before I went live, I've been doing research on 50 prospects, and I felt like I could put 10 of them as just at the corner position. So there's just a ton of them in this year's draft, and a lot of good ones, a lot of high value you can get there, and I think that's the way you want to go. Question, it says for Ant-Man in the comment section, what is Ant's perfect plan for a cornerback number 1 next season?
I mean, truth be told, I don't think we'll have a cornerback 1 next season. I would probably be drafting him this year, certainly high in the draft. I will be developing my cornerback 1. I'm big on Jeff. I still am. I still believe. He's come back. He's played a full season after such an injury. I think he will carry on getting better, but I think he'll be part of a rotation going forward. I think the same for Jerry. I love them both. I want them to stay, but I would draft my guy this year, and then I would start developing him corner 1 of the future. I don't think we'll find one in free agency. I don't think we'll find one to trade for. So I'll go after him in the first round. You'll know who I like. I'm the Witherspoon guy. I always have been, for a long time now. I think you get him, he's your outside corner. He's the main lockdown guy you want to get in and develop. So that would be my perfect plan, to draft him, let him do his thing, win a nice, talented core of corners back there, and just reset the room and go again. So I don't think we'll have one next year. I think it will take a while.
If you guys got questions, let us know. Let us know in the comments section if you got questions. Why? Because it's the mailbag segment. It's your time to let us know. So we're going to roll right now. What is the Lions' record next season, do you think, AG?
7-10.
What? Okay, he's not thinking the Lions are going to be that good. He's 7-10. I disagree there.
They have regression. I think they're going to regress. It only goes as far as golf goes, I remember, it really depends on the draft and how they really do and attack free agency and, what they do with their cap and retaining players. But it's going to be on golf trying to break through the curse of not playing elite in 2 seasons. I mean, he played elite in 2017 and 2018, but 2019 was so awful and he got shipped out the next year. So I think that, he's going to have to be that back-to-back good guy. He's had elite numbers. I respect his numbers. I respect what he's been doing, especially the second half of the year. How much of that was the offensive coordinator? How much of that was him? So it's going to depend on him. And I remember last year, everybody was talking. This guy was talking safety. Everybody was talking safety at 2, and we got a pass rusher. So I hope we all in agreement that we need to talk about the defensive line and linebacker, and then beefing up that defense in the draft so we can really solidify this team as a number 1 team in the division.
What is your record prediction, Ant-Man? Throw you guys' record in the comment section as well.
I of course want to keep seeing progression going forward. I think we can break the 10-win barrier simply because the home schedule is very favourable. I think we are a much better team playing at home with the one pride behind us. We saw it this year. It's not particularly obviously it's not the worst schedule in the world. I think it's very favourable. The road schedule, on the other hand, is a nightmare, but I can see 3 wins in there for sure to be able to get us up to double figures. So I would go on 10-7, and I think that will be enough to win a division. I think the Vikings are going to regress quite a lot, but And with Avery, a lot of it comes down to how they do. This is a massive offseason for us. We've got to make sure we have enough injection of veteran talent as we do young draft talent, because we are lopsided right now on young talent. We need more good veterans in, especially on the defense. If we can get that right, I might go higher. But right now, I'd just say 10-7.
And I got the Detroit Lions. I don't know if I'm the homer here, but I got them winning 11 to 12 wins. They look so good the last 10. They look dominant. They were smoking everybody. I mean, they were a physical football team. We beat the New York Giants. We beat the Jets. We beat the Minnesota Vikings. Squashed the Bears. Smoked the Packers. Like, it is just a physical football team. And they just look so dominant. They look so dominant. I think this team is going to come out and start the same way. I don't know if we'll go 5-1 in the division again. That's hard to do. But I think we're the best team in the NFC North, and I feel like we proved it this year. We just beat the hell out of everybody. It's not a finesse team. This is a punch-you-in-the-mouth football team. Defense played much better the second half, and the offense just stayed hot the whole way. Jared Goff not throwing any picks, in the last, 10 games? It was ridiculous, and you give another running back and a guard there for the right side. I think the offense is complete. You build this defense in the draft, in free agency. I have them winning some football games. Perfect postseason. Great scenario earlier today. Mike, what chances do you think we have that pulling off? Well, since it's probably something that I want, so 0% chance. I never get what I want. I would hope it would be nice. I hope it would be nice, but you know me. I never get what I want. You can't always get what you want. That's exactly what happens, man. That's exactly what happens. Let me see here. Ant, will you please introduce our future development quarterback to the chat room?
Oh, you know what? I've not really done quarterbacks this year. Yeah, I mean, oh God, who would that? In fact, no, lie. Lindsey Scott Jr. I would be all over. I think, no, he's not going to the Senior Bowl, but he's the Incarnate Ward quarterback who's coming up this season. Dual threat guy, load of ability about him. Watched Incarnate Ward a lot in the playoffs. He would be the guy I would sit, because I'm giving Goff another year. I think he's earned another year. Again, like Avery says, he does have to maybe go up another notch just to really take us over the edge, but I would give him year 3 to prove that he can do it. But I would bring Lindsey Scott Jr. in behind him, and I would develop him. Dual threat guy, you can use him for, to learn how to deal with dual threat quarterbacks. You've got a good not practice squad, but you've got a good guy you can use in scrimmage whilst you're developing it. I think it makes a lot of sense.
Who's getting the number 1 pick? That's the Chicago Bears, but they're going to trade out. I do not believe they sit at number 1 pick at all. I give them actually taking that pick like a 0.001% chance. I feel like they're trading out because they don't need a quarterback. They don't. Hendon Hooker, I don't even know where this guy's going to fall in the draft due to injury and his age. Maybe he falls 3rd, 4th round now. I don't know. Max Duggan is a quarterback I'd like to get maybe in the 6th round. Obviously out of TCU. I think he's a good developmental guy, dual threat. A guy that can, sit behind Jared Goff for a year or two and maybe be a backup guy for sure.
I like Stetson.
Go ahead.
I like Stetson Bennett. I've always liked Stetson Bennett. We can look at the videos in the back. we can pull up the backtrack. I like Stetson and I like Malik for sure in the 3rd, 4th round. I think those guys will be valuable guys, value picks, especially the 4th, 5th round. Stetson Bennett, he proves he's a winner. He proves he can back up a guy. He proves he can come in, win a game. He proves he can take over a season. And I've always liked that man's game. So,
Aaron Glenn, no word on him yet. Nothing new coming down. What is up, Kurt? Hope you feel better, man. I know you're a little bit under the weather. Where does Anthony Richardson go? I'm going to make a bold prediction. He's a top 10 pick because quarterbacks go up really quick. Maybe he goes to Carolina or the Atlanta Falcons. That's potential. What do you think about Anthony? I just say I see Bryce Young 1, C.J. Stroud 2, maybe Levis top 5, and then there's all these teams that's dying to get a quarterback because they missed out. What do you think, Ant-Man?
He gets picked on traits, doesn't he? So, teams will always value quarterbacks highly when they're going on traits. And I remember a few months ago, I was sort of vehemently against the idea of us doing it. I mean, the more I've looked at it now, he's not got the body of college work you would like, especially that I would like. I like them to have a good body of work, but you sit and watch the tape on him, the processing is elite. His ability to read the field is elite. He has the dual threat ability, but he doesn't use it unless he needs to. You can see why teams would like him. So I think he probably goes top 10. Am I fully upset if we do it at some stage? Not fully, no. We've got 5 picks in the top 80. I think you can maybe afford to try it. But I think he's for sure probably going to go into the top 10. He'll go to the combine and people will fall in love very quickly.
We're not getting 4 quarterbacks in the top 10, though, Mike. It's just franchises will overdraft players. It's what they do. It's one of those things. I'm not saying he's like, this guy's a top 10 pick. I'm just saying other teams will value that quarterback position. We all know how they freak out. What is your opinion on Stanford's Tanner McKee, 6'6", available in the 5th? I don't believe he's going to be available in the 5th. He'll probably go in the 3rd round or 4th round. We don't have a 4th round pick unless we trade and, trade up in there, but that's probably where he's going to go. Tanner McKee. We got a $20 super chat from Mike McCall. Show him some love in the comments section. He says, #FGB. I appreciate it. I'm really against spending all that money on Payne. Don't you think we can find our own stud in the draft and save the money? The track record is great so far. Your thoughts? Thank you so much for that super chat. We do appreciate it. I think Daron Payne is the best defensive tackle in football. 11.5 sacks, 20 quarterback hurries. The Lions had 3.5 sacks for their defensive tackles this last year and 8 quarterback hurries. I think if you got a guy with his ability, you put him with Aiden Hutchinson, Pascal, and everybody else, this defensive line is dominant. I think it would be dominant. And I'm willing to spend some money on a dominant player who's young. He's not old, 25 years old. So if you were to do like a 5-year deal, you're going to get all that 5 years from him. And he's just been a physical specimen. I would love to get it.
You get $8 million a year?
Daron Payne, he's going to demand way more than that. We're talking
I'm just saying.
He 11.5 sacks for a defensive tackle. He's gonna demand way more than that. He's the best DT in football. Well, in free agency, maybe in football, Aaron Donald injured. He's all pro. Daron Payne's all pro. So he is a massive piece. What do you think about spending money on Payne, Ant-Man?
I think you do it. I mean, I get the rationale behind drafting the guys and building them up, but think about how much draft stock we've already put in the defensive line. We've got Hutch, we've got Aleem. I mean, Levi is still to be decided, but you've got Houston, who's young. You've got Julian, who could maybe make a miraculous comeback, who's young. I think, you need to balance it out with some good veterans in there. I mean, you saw when Kaminsky arrived and started playing well, immediately the edge room got a lot better. Because you had a veteran in, knows the game, came in, played really well for us. You need that on the interior as well. What have we missed? We've missed veteran leadership on that interior line. Michael Brocker's bust. Nick Williams, worse than a bust. We've had no one in there to help Aleem McNeil over the last 2 years that we've been in. And Bugs and Benito have come in and done very well, but they are rotational guys who will come in and do good things, but they ain't, like you said, like Daron is, the mainstay guy, the guy who comes in, makes the big game-changing, altering plays that you want. You add him to that line, how fearsome is that defensive line going to be? It's going to be one of the best going round, and they're getting coached by a guy who seems to be maximizing the potential out of everybody. So I think it's worth putting the extra money in there for him because you don't have a ton invested in it already. So I think you've drafted plenty.
I'd love to get Jalen Carter because I think he could be that guy, but I just don't see him falling to 6. Jalen Carter is the best defensive tackle in the draft. He is one of those players. Now, if we could get him I'd be cool with it not getting Payne, but Payne's so damn good. I think if you're just one DT away from being elite, like this, like taking that defense to the next level and getting turnovers because these quarterbacks can't stand in the pocket anymore. Look at 2014 with Ndamukong Suh and what they did with the defensive line in the interior there. It was just making the defense all around really good. I think that would be someone I would like. I would make a phone call. I'm gonna call up your agent. We're gonna make a phone call. Not saying I'm gonna get it done, but I'm gonna make a phone call. If I'm not doing it, not making that phone call, you're not trying to make your team better. Who's the biggest threat to the Lions winning the NFC North? The Minnesota Vikings. I think they're the biggest threat. Feels like Green Bay is kind of going downward, and the Chicago Bears got a ways to go. What do you think about that, AG? Who do you think's the biggest threat?
Themselves.
That's true.
I just feel like they got a lot of stuff going on that's positive, and if they start smelling themselves too quick, trying to pull up the old Lions of old, and I mean I remember they went 11-5 and they pooped the bed the next year. I'm in the stern belief that this team got to stay focused. We know everybody's gonna do their homework on that offense. Those zone splits, those motions, everybody's going to do their homework on that offense. Everybody knows everybody's going to come with it, with that offense. And it's on that defense to get better. So, the books is in. Everybody understands what the Lions have in store for everybody. So, they have to push past their own limitations and then start off the year hot and then finish hot as well. So.
Noah Sewell, a lot of hype before the season started. Then the season started, he's a little underperformed. In my opinion, he's now, I'd say, almost 4th ranked linebacker in this year's draft. Trent Simpson, I'm going to put him obviously above. I like Jack Campbell. I like even 2-0 over him. What do you think about Noah Sewell? Where do you think he lands, AG? Obviously, you're shaking your head. You want to talk about some Sewell?
Yeah. So when it comes to Noah Sewell, he didn't increase on the physicality, and he's too finesse to really. I was watching him in hopes of getting him. But there was a couple linebackers who didn't show their face. They didn't show who they really were. I think he's probably a late first round pick, not a top first round pick. Also, Overshown, another one. Is a guy who was a phenomenal guy last year, and in this past year, it hasn't been as dominant. But I think Noah Sewell is that player that player that's at 32 that you could look at 32 and down. From 32 to 80, you could look at him and say, "Hey, look, I know I got a nice linebacker in a second. He's not as physical, but he's not as finesse. He's kind of just a normal guy. He's regular. He's going to have 50 tackles. He's going to have 50, 75 tackles, and he's not going to be a superstar, or we can return him to superstar level." So I think that he's a quality pick. I'm just disappointed in his play as of the last year, because he was on my radar to be a top 5 pick.
Yeah, I have him 2nd round. He's just. What do you think about Sewell there, Ant-Man?
Yeah, I've been disappointed this year. There was a time when he was considered to be the top guy out of his, him and his 2 brothers. He was considered to be the most talented Sewell of the lot of them, and we've seen how good Penei is. But again, I've watched him this year, and I've been disappointed. I said before the season I'd give my first round pick for him right at the beginning of the year. Now I wouldn't. There are other linebackers I like better. I just think he's disappointed in the whole, and I'm not. If he's there in the 2nd, and my options aren't there on the board, I would maybe consider it. But yeah, no, I'm not going to get drawn in by Penei and what he's done for this team and an emotional decision. I just think he's not been good enough.
Have you seen the Touchdown Network's most recent mock draft? They have the Lions moving back to 9, getting Miles Murphy in a 3rd and a future first. Thoughts? They must be watching my mock drafts because I've been having them. I have having the Lions trade back from 6 to 9 in the last 2 of them. Now I have the Lions getting an extra 2nd round pick, not getting a future first and a 3rd. I tell you what, I would love that future first. God dang, I may do that deal over my own. I just think it makes a lot of sense. You're going to miss out on the talent, the top blue chip talent. I don't think Miles Murphy would be there at 9. That would be a huge. I think he's already gone even before 6. But I think trading back makes a lot of sense, and the Panthers, they need a quarterback. So I want to trade back. And I know, Ant-Man, we were talking about before we went live, you want to trade back.
Yeah, I would. I'd take that deal in a heartbeat because you're pulling someone's pants down there. The difference between 6 and 9 is not huge. The 3rd would probably cover it if it's a high one. So for you to get a 3rd and a future first and still get 9, you would be absolutely pulling their pants down. So I'd take it. I just don't think we would get a deal like that. I don't think you'll get a future first moving down 3 picks unless there's a quarterback there and you're going to fleece someone for them. I think that's the only hope you've got of driving such a hard bargain for it. But I would prefer to go back to 9. I just don't think we'll get that much for it.
What do you think about trading up and down in the draft there, AG?
Yeah, I think the Lions are more of a trade up team than a trade down team. But I mean, in the first round, if we're talking first round, but I'm open to it. Again, I would have to see more prospect data. With the prospect that I have, names are just names right now. With the exception of Noah. Noah is one of my guys I was watching. Overshown, one of my guys I was watching. But this Miles Murphy, definitely gonna be a name, and I look forward to. I'm actually I'm interested in seeing what this Gonzalez has to offer too. But I don't think the Lions are a team that trade down, trade back. If they love a guy at 6, they love a guy at 6. I think they've shown to improve. Like, hey, look, we love this guy here. We know we can love him. We're gonna take him. We're gonna hand the card in early. We're gonna hand the card in quick. And I think that's what they've done in the past, and I predict them to do the same. Stay put. And
Jalen Carter or Will Anderson fall to 6th spot. You for sure draft them dead, yes? If they were there, you know how fast Aiden Hutchinson's card went up and how the NFL was mad at the Lions for making it quick? It would be quicker than that.
I'd shout it from the booth we were sat at. I'd just shout the name across to them. That one.
Yeah. Yep, there you go. You already know who's the pick. Yeah, if that were to happen, that's like the football gods loving and praising us. That's what that would be. Yeah, there's no doubt I won't trade out of that pick. I'm just go ahead and take that bad boy. Should we get Bijan Robinson at 18? Ant-Man, thoughts on getting Robinson? He's sitting there at 18. You gonna make people...
It's my absolute guilty pleasure. I'm not going to lie. It's not rash. If I was rationally thinking, I wouldn't do it. But, the run game is so important to the Detroit Lions. We live and die by our run game. And we saw parts this year when it wasn't going well. The team was awful. And I feel like, I know running backs devalued in the draft, but I think the running game's that critical to us that you have to treat it like a priority. So... Again, we've got 5 picks in the top 80, so we're not going to be short on getting defensive talent in this draft and bulking that up. So why not use one of your picks, one of your big picks, and go after a big skill player to come through here? You put Bijan in that backfield, with DeAndre. I mean, if Jamal's back on a little bit of money, the possibilities are endless. He is a game changer. There's no other way about it. He's such a good running back. He will carry a full workload for you, something Swift's never been able to do. The missed tackle rate is incredible. Get him out in open field one-on-one. It's hard to bring him down. Behind our offensive line, we could really do some damage with him there. So I'm open to it. I don't care about the devaluing of the running back thing. I know you can get him in the 7th round and that, but the top 2 running backs who went last season, one of them would have been Offensive Rookie of the Year if he'd stayed healthy. The other possibly should be. There's nothing wrong with drafting a guy that high. I'd 100% do it. I would.
If you ain't smashed that like button, go ahead and do it right now. We got 38 likes. Love to get to at least 50, so that's 12 more. What do you think, AJ, Bijan Robinson, best running back in this year's draft? Saquon Barkley compare. You're sitting at 18. He's there. He's, top talent-wise, he's a top 5 talent. Like, this dude's special. But it's a running back, and you need defense. What do? You're sitting at 18. Bijan Robinson's there. A top cornerback is there. Or a linebacker, which I don't think they go linebacker anyways. But what would you do?
It would mainly depend on my, self scout on the running backs that I do have. Am I signing Swift? Am I doing X, Y, and Z? At that point, you and the people in the room know whether you're re-signing Swift or whether you're drafting this guy to push Swift or you're re-signing 30. But at the end of the day, I like the pick. It's interesting to me because Alexander, Swift, 30, everybody's an old running back. Everybody's going to be 25 up. So I would go, and he's at 18.
18. Sitting there, you got top corners, ton of corners. You need cornerback depth.
You got a ton of corners?
There's a lot of corners in this draft. A lot. And they're probably I would not be shocked if there's a nice run on corners, between pick 12 and up.
Yeah, at 18, if there's some corners, some star corners, like some real tough caliber corners that are going to take a side of the field away, no. But if they're just running the mill starters, like going to need development, stuff like that, like, nah, I'm going to just go with the fact that if there's a corner or defense on the board, we got to fix that defense. Unfortunately, I like Bijan Robinson. I like his physicality, but I also know there's running backs from Alcorn State that are very good. I also know there's running backs from Oregon that are very good, and I'm willing to take those guys if they enter the draft. So,
I'm looking at corner at 18. In all honesty, and there's a ton that will be there. One of these guys is going to be there. Cam Smith, Gonzalez, Witherspoon, Porter. Someone's going to be there. At least I'm looking there. But I'm going to tell you what. I'm going to be aggressive, and I got 2 second-round picks. I'm tempted to trade up in the first round. Because if you add 2 second-round picks that we have, it's 900 points, and it's 850 points at pick 19. Tampa Bay's only got 5 picks in the draft. So I'm calling Tampa Bay up at pick 19 after I draft that corner and say, hey, I got to give you 2 second-round picks here. Let me jump up to that pick. Give me some Bijan Robinson. And then, there we go. There we go. I'm thinking about it. I'm going to get both. I'm a greedy son of a bitch. First they said we can't get Sewell and we can't get Hutch. Now we can't get Carter. Sewell, there's ideas that he'd be there at 8. Hutch, yeah, there's ideas that he would be there. The problem is you got teams that don't need a quarterback, like the Chicago Bears. They're going to take Will Anderson or Jalen Carter. They're not going to trade out of that. And then you got a team like the Arizona Cardinals. They don't need a quarterback. They're probably going to take Will Anderson or Jalen Carter. That's just my thought. Now it's possible. It's possible, but
yeah, we shouldn't have gotten Hutch. That was a football guy smiling on us. We shouldn't have gotten Aiden Hutchinson because he was the best player on the board. And while everybody was talking about a safety at 2, and they disappeared throughout the season, and we didn't see that safety play a lick. I'm just saying, like, we shouldn't have got Hutch. Sewell, that was kind of obvious though. We knew that was coming. We wanted that.
It was nice. I felt like Jacksonville was gonna go a different route. They always do that. Jacksonville beat Jacksonville.
Yeah.
There's teams that just do that stuff, and they're one of those teams. And Hutch just fell to us. It was really, really good. So that's some teams do that. Maybe team does that, right? They throw in their wrench and I'll take a wide receiver. or something, and you don't expect it, then we could go ahead and send that team that does something stupid, we'll go ahead and send postcards and appreciate you for giving us a blue chip player. Because if you get Will Anderson or Jalen Carter and you're sitting at 6 and one of those fall there, God is good. That's all I got to say. I would be extremely happy.
You got a lack of premium. You've got no offensive linemen up there this year either, which is rare. So
weird.
You don't have anyone to push the board. You don't have anyone to push the board down. You don't have
run on QB. That's what
any
you
other
want.
Yeah, that's what you need. You need to hope that Levis and Richardson come up and people really heavily bet on the trades and everyone gets into a quarterback bidding war. Really, but with no O lineman in there, it makes it incredibly difficult.
Run on quarterback. Make sure that everybody thinks Anthony Richardson's QB1. Make sure Levis is QB1. Make sure Stroud QB1. Let's do a couple years ago where it went quarterback, 1, 2, 3. Then everyone's fighting over the last, the top 4 with Richardson. Let's all do it. Let's all hype these guys up so they get picked. Who gets Patrick Peterson? Is he done? I hope we don't get Patrick Peterson because I think he's done. He'd probably go somewhere for depth, but we don't need him. Patrick Peterson, maybe he goes to, I don't know, the Houston Texans. Oh, man. Saquon looks healthy. Now I bet he gets a big contract. He wants $16 million a year. Saquon Barkley. $16 million a year. That's a ton of money.
He's imagining things.
I don't think he's going to get it.
He's not worth it. Yeah, it's not worth it.
If we get outbid for Chark, how early do we look for wide receiver? The thing is free agency wide receivers are butt cheeks. Like he's like the biggest name on there. So I think probably 5th or 6th round you could get a wide receiver if you're trying to. You don't need to get one right away, but if you're trying to get like a wide receiver, you take a flyer in the 5th or 6th round. I'm not looking to get a wide receiver earlier because you got Jamison Williams, you got Khalif Raymond, you got obviously Amon-Ra first down, you got Reynolds, Rapp, Tom Kennedy if you want to bring him back because he did decent. And by the way, Amon-Ra first down knows his name is Amon-Ra first down. He got told that, and he thought it was a great name, by the way. So he heard that, and I thought it was great. So he knows his nickname. That I made him, by the way. I was live streaming. I said, Amon-Ra first down, and then it just like went viral to Reddit and everywhere. So he knows his nickname, man. Amon-Ra first down. So that's really nice. But, yeah, 5th, 6th round, you can find a wide receiver there. What do you think, Ant-Man, AG?
I'd be like you. I'd go day 3. My guy's sat there. Puka Nasua, you'll get him day 3. He's Amon-Ra St. Brown on the outside, and you will develop him into a really good outside wide receiver who will fit our system perfectly. You'll get him day 3. That's what I'd do.
What do you think there, man?
Yeah, I'm not too much of a fan of the outbid for DJ Shark. I'm not trying to pay a lot of money for someone that's going to show up week 5. That's pointless. The 6'3", 6'4" wide receiver that, sometimes is there, sometimes it's not. I'm good on that. Now, granted, I watched half the season, but I'm not. What I've seen, I'm good. I doubt he got, 1,000 more yards since the end.
He did really good in the second half. He was game changing.
Did really good?
Yeah, he did. But the problem is he's going to demand probably more than $10 million a year, and that's when you got Jamison Williams, and Amon-Ra in a couple years is going to get paid. I would try to, but you got to take a pay cut. I'm not going to outbid for him. And then I'll take a compensatory pick next year if he goes out and signs with another deal, big deal with somebody. If he's trying to get Kenny Galladay money, I don't think so, man. I'm not doing that.
I'm straight on that. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah. I'm not too impressed with him as a wide receiver, but I like him in terms of stretching the field. But again, I feel like it's a crowded wide receiver core. You have Tom Kenny, you have Cephas, you have a lot of guys that's trying to get on the floor, on the field, and then you have Jamison. Every time Jameson tests the ball, it's a TD. So I want to see more of that. I want to see more production for cheap. That's what I want to see.
Been on for about an hour, and AG, tell the people about your channel, where they can find you, because you're finally about to do some Lions content after coming back from the desert.
Yeah, it's good. You can find me at Spirit Detroit Podcast. Like, comment, subscribe. You too. That's my moniker. You can also find my Prospects channel, Prospects Now. Even my brother has a channel called Brother Podcast, and we actually talk sports on there, and that's a little more uncensored, but we talk more sports on there. But yeah, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, where you can find me, Prospects Now, and you can find your latest prospects and what's going on in college football.
Roar Lions UK, man, tell the folks about your channel, where they can find you.
Like Mike says, you can find us over at Roar the Lions UK. We do shows on Monday, a Detroit Lions-based show. Then on Wednesday, me and one of the other guys do a college football podcast show. We're looking at the Senior Bowl roster tomorrow, and then we do all sorts of other interviews on little bits there and the other. So, yeah, come give us a check out. We are a group of passionate Detroit Lions fans from across the Atlantic. So if you want something a little different, come give us a try.
Appreciate you guys hanging out. We're going to have videos dropping every single day on LNU and a lot of fun stuff to come. With that said, adios.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan. Your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour. Take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder. Work until you're prouder. And f*** all the doubters, they're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me